My 20 male parents weren't really present. My grandparents stayed with us and took care of me until I started daycare. Still, after a few incidents where the teacher was targeting me for no reason, they withdrew me. My parents said daycare seemed too expensive. I was better off at home and refused to pay. My grandparents continued raising me, and then I started school. They came over every morning and afternoon, basically whenever I was home. At that point, it felt like they should just move in with us, but my parents didn't want them to since they'd have to pay for 2 more people living with us, and they also didn't want them nagging all the time. I remember always asking my grandma why I never see my parents, and she tried to change the topic. Well, I spoke to her recently, and after a lot of pressing and convincing, she admitted that my parents didn't want me or my brother upon their own admission not long after we were born. To top it off, as it turns out, my parents just stayed at work late every day so they wouldn't have to deal with my twin and me in general. They recently posted a picture of us, saying spending time with family is the best gift they've ever received. I never paid much attention, but it turns out they've been posting my and my brother's pictures for occasions like Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, etc. I spent the weekend making cute stuff out of wood with my grandparents, so I posted a few pics of those and added a caption saying it was great to finally have a free weekend to spend with my parents. They called me up asking what I meant by that post, and I told them I meant exactly what I typed out. I see my grandparents as my real parents. They're the ones who've been there for me. My grandma made our lunch and got us ready every day. My grandpa dropped us everywhere. School, competitions, name it. They were the ones who listened to all my problems, gave me advice, consoled me, fought for me. They guided us through life, not my parents who gave birth to me and left it at that. My mother started crying and my father said it's unfair of me to punish them for making their career a priority and taking breaks since balancing career and parenting is stressful. I told them they didn't balance anything. They just pawned us off to our grandparents. They're now blowing up our phones and demanding apologies. So, am I the idiot for telling my parents they aren't really my parents? Not the idiot. Your parents reaped the seeds they sowed. It's ridiculous for them to think otherwise. They should be thanking your grandparents and begging for forgiveness for their actions. It's not up to you to lie to protect them even if they'd asked you to. Your grandparents did right by you. If anything, your parents now regret how they treated you and are clinging to the most superficial shows of parentage, holidays and birthdays, since they have nothing else to go on. Agree. The excuse that they took a break from parenting to focus on their careers is absurd. OP, it sounds like you just handed them a reality check, not a punishment. Your parents are clearly more interested in their image than in your happiness or well-being. They're using you as a way to boost their reputation in front of others, rather than respecting your individuality or caring about your needs. That's not love or support, it's manipulation. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your own comfort, boundaries, or mental health just so they look good in front of other people. Honestly, I'd consider going no contact if this is a pattern of behavior. I'm going to go with the controversial everyone's the idiot here. Yes, your parents should be more present and you have every right to discuss that with them, but a passive-aggressive public social media post to call out your parents was a really terrible idea. You can't have possibly imagined that was going to end well. So in that sense, you're kind of the architect of your own drama in this particular situation. Also, did you ever tell your parents what your grandparents said? Is it possible that your grandparents' perception that because they work a lot, they didn't want to and not a fact? Did they work constantly because they needed the money? I'm curious, have you looked into bills like rent, electric bill, insurance, etc.? I'm sorry they weren't there for you, and I'm sorry for what you've gone through. Calling your grandparents your parents is really just you trying to be hurtful towards your biological parents. My boyfriend 30 proposed to me, 28 female, at his birthday dinner last Saturday. We've been dating for 6 months. It's been a great 6 months, he's a great guy. He proposed to me in front of his family and close friends. I had no idea it was coming. We've talked about marriage, but I said I'd want to be with someone for at least a year before even considering a proposal. He fully agreed. We don't live together and he still needs to meet my family. They live in a different country. I was blindsided. I helped organise his birthday dinner and everything was going well until the middle of the party. My boyfriend announced he had a special surprise for someone. He walked towards me, got down on one knee and held out a ring. His whole family watched this exchange, ages 4 to 86, and they looked hopeful. He asked me to marry him and I kind of whispered a yes because I'm a people pleaser, I guess. I didn't want to make a scene by saying no. Everyone cheered and he hugged me, but it felt all wrong. When he dropped me off at my place, I told him we needed to talk. I told him how blindsided I was and I'm not ready for a huge commitment with him yet. I told him that I'd be open to it in the distant future, as I said when we first talked about marriage. I gave him back the ring. He was devastated. Then he was angry. He kept asking me why I said yes, and I told him because his whole family was watching and I didn't want to cause a scene. He told me to get out the car and he drove off. I called him a few times, but I thought he might need space to process, so I didn't call him anymore. I've been basically in hiding for the past 3 days. I don't even know if I have a boyfriend anymore. I decided to finally look at my texts today. I pretty much muted everyone. The group chat I made to organise my boyfriend's party is now just people calling me an idiot, so I'm guessing my boyfriend told everyone. I moved to this city 8 months ago, so I don't have close friends to talk this out with. I told one of my co-workers about what I was going through and she said I wasn't, but I don't know. I can't shake off the feeling that if I'd said no initially, would I still be an idiot? You're not the idiot. It seems to me he has no respect for what you've asked for or the boundaries you've set. Instead of showing empathy and hearing what you need and want, he's showing aggression, which shows how emotionally immature he is. So personally, I think you dodged a bullet. She dodged a cannon. The proposal was one thing, but his reaction to the whole situation is really telling. His actions and pattern of behaviour are on par with an abuser. A good partner respects boundaries and timelines, and the relationship is new. A lot of abusers rush through to get a commitment and then drop the mask. Girl, that's probably the best way you could have handled that situation. I couldn't imagine being asked a life-changing question like that in front of a crowd. Plus, he's such a lazy jerk. He proposed at the party you planned. OMG, super loser. OP, please realise that he did that on purpose. 6 months is way too soon. He knows you aren't ready, but he wants what he wants and is intentionally trying to steamroll you into going along. There's probably a reason he's in such a hurry. He wants to lock you down before you see him for who he really is. He proposed at the party you planned. OMG, super loser. This is an underrated take. Could he not have put more effort into it? OP is dodging bullets like Neo, to be honest. This is a nightmare. Sorry you wasted 6 months, but damn, better than having been rushed into marriage to someone like that. I, 22 female, am a full-time college student with 2 part-time jobs. My sister, 27 male, has a toddler son and has been relying on me more and more to babysit him. At first, it was occasional and manageable, but now it's become a regular thing, 2 or 3 times a week, often when I could be working or studying. Initially, I was okay with helping out. I love my nephew and understand how hard it is to be a single mom, but the constant babysitting is wearing me down. I'm already stretched thin trying to keep up with my classes, jobs and basic self-care. Babysitting for free means losing income or study time, and I just can't keep doing it. I sat my sister down and told her I couldn't continue unless she paid me a reasonable hourly rate. I even offered to charge less than half of a professional sitter's cost. She blew up at me. She said, "Family doesn't charge family," and accused me of putting a price tag on my love for my nephew. She said I should want to help because she's struggling and I'm in the best position to support her. When I explained that I was struggling too, just in a different way, she dismissed it and told me I was being selfish. Her argument is she can't afford daycare and has no one else to turn to. I feel for her, but at the same time, I'm not her long-term solution and I can't keep sacrificing my own financial and academic stability. The situation came to a head last week when her sitter cancelled last minute and she called me at 7 a.m. to ask if I could step in. I told her I couldn't because I had an exam that morning and she started crying, saying I was abandoning her when she needed me most. She eventually found someone else but has been cold toward me ever since. She's also been telling family members that I'm greedy and don't care about her struggles. Now my mom has gotten involved, saying I need to step up because family helps family. I tried explaining my side, but my mom thought I was being heartless and prioritising money over family. I'm torn. I love my nephew and want to help, but it's no longer an occasional favour. It's become an expectation and I'm not okay with that. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, but the guilt trips from my family make me wonder if I'm in the wrong. Am I the idiot for refusing to babysit unless my sister pays me? Not the idiot. Tell your mom bluntly to put up or shut up. If mom works outside the home and tries to use that as an excuse, throw it back in her face that you not only work but also have classes. Also inform mom and sister that since you had no say as to her having a child, you have no responsibility for said child. This may be harsh, but you're being accused of not caring. Sister is a greedy, entitled mom who needs to pull her head out of her behind and accept her own responsibilities. And where's Dad? Why isn't he caring for his son and paying for childcare? And why is it your responsibility? Let paternal grandma step up to the plate. She can actually be the caretaker or pay for childcare. How did your sister's child become your responsibility? It took 2 parents to bring this boy into the world. You are being used and also gaslighted. Family helps family. Who's helping you? Is your tuition being paid? Is the child's father, not family? Don't let them trick you. You need to build your own future. Right, all that. And also, even if that doesn't go through them, sometimes you can't please everyone and have to stand up for yourself, even if they make you the bad guy. Rather be the bad guy than getting taken advantage of and sacrificing yourself for others. Stand your ground. You're not putting a price tag on your love for your nephew. You're putting a price tag on a professional service you're not obligated to do. My wife and I have been married for 3 years and together for 7. Last year, my wife had a miscarriage and it was a really hard time for her. She struggled a lot with it and I was there for her and supported her through it. Last week, my wife asked me if she could take her co-worker out to a French restaurant for dinner since he was French too. I was really uncomfortable with it and I asked my wife why she couldn't take him out for breakfast because dinner just felt intimate. My wife, however, really wanted to do it and promised there was nothing intimate in it and it was just getting to know him. My wife and I also share our locations with each other. After thinking about it for a bit, I told her sure because she'd been through a lot the past year and if this would help her mentally, then good for her. My wife was really grateful and thanked me a lot, but I was still really uncomfortable and sad about it. I wasn't myself around my wife and my wife noticed it and she apologized a lot if my being down was about her going out with the co-worker. I, however, told her I just needed some space and time to work things through. Last Saturday, I took my sister and my nephew out to a movie. I told my wife I didn't want her to come because I needed some space from her. My wife seemed really hurt, but I just wanted to be away from her for a few hours. After the movie, I also took my sister and nephew out to an Italian restaurant, and I texted my wife about it. My wife and I usually go out on weekends, but that day I just told her to do her own thing. And to be honest, the movie and the dinner really helped, and I think I'm over it now. When I came back home, I was really happy, but my wife still seemed sad. I apologized and told her I just needed some time away from her, but that seemed to have done the trick because I was feeling mentally refreshed. It's been a couple of days and my wife and I are mostly back to normal, but my wife still seems somewhat sad. Was I the idiot? Not the idiot. There's a lot of arguing back and forth on this, but the fact that she knew her husband was uncomfortable about it and went anyway is not a good sign. Then she got sad and remained so because he needed some time away to process it. If you go and do something your SO has told you they aren't comfortable with, then you may be shifting things in the relationship. It's a lot harder to be walked on when you're standing up. OP, I'm interested in your views on the romantic essentialism of European-themed restaurants. What is the boundary here? Is it purely continental? Would a German restaurant be intimate or is their language and culture too harsh? I'm converging on French, Italian and Spanish restaurants, which raises my suspicion that you've confused the notion of a romance language with the concept of romance. How do you feel about a Romanian restaurant? Yeah, everyone in this story is behaving like a petty child. Everyone's the idiot here. It seems few people trust their spouse. For good reason? I don't know. General question, why would you assume your spouse wants to sleep around? OP, if you have a reason not to trust her, then it's a bad idea to even stay in the marriage. If you trust her, let her be. Maybe she just needs some space, which is something you apparently understand, and wants to speak French with a fellow French person. You're reading too much into this. I, 28 male, commute home from work every day on a crowded train. It's always packed and getting a seat is a small miracle. Last Friday I had an especially exhausting day, back-to-back meetings, skipped lunch and stayed late to finish a project. I was running on fumes when I got on the train. I managed to grab a seat near the door and planned to zone out for the 40-minute ride home. A few stops later, a woman, mid-30s, got on with 2 small kids, maybe a preschooler and a young grammar schooler. She looked frazzled and was balancing bags while trying to keep the kids calm. The train was standing room only. She glanced at me, clearly expecting me to offer my seat. I hesitated, but I was so drained I didn't move. I wasn't rude, I just looked out the window and avoided eye contact. About 10 minutes later, she loudly said, "Some people have no manners these days." A few others nearby looked at me pointedly. A guy further down eventually offered her his seat, and she made a big show of thanking him while glaring at me. I felt awful, but I was also frustrated. I work long hours and I rarely ask for anything. Is it wrong to prioritize my own exhaustion over someone else's needs? I wasn't in her shoes, but it's not like I made her bring her kids on a packed train. My girlfriend thinks I should have given up my seat, saying it's just basic decency. But my best friend said I wasn't obligated and that being tired is a valid reason to stay seated. Not the idiot on all accounts. Giving up your seat to someone in need is chivalrous, but nobody is entitled to it, and you should only do so if you can spare it, which you couldn't. Since the train was chock full, literally anyone else could have given up their seat, unless you were taking up the priority seating and she was somehow disabled, pregnant, walking with a cane, in a wheelchair, etc., which from your story she wasn't. You are the idiot. A frazzled woman with 2 children in tow compared to a healthy young guy who worked hard but has no bags to balance, no children in tow, dollars to donuts. She wasn't just some annoying lady demanding a seat for herself. She wanted the seat for the 2 small children who could injure themselves. I agree with your girlfriend that it would have been the quality thing to do. Disagree. You are stupid to take your 2 young toddlers or kids on a packed train during rush hour expecting everyone else to move for you. If she doesn't want her kids in danger, then it's her job to find appropriate means of transportation. Stroller, taxi, Uber, car rental. Not expecting everyone else to get up and move. I rode the train for 10 years. Seats are first come, first serve, unless they're designated handicapped. Procreating doesn't make you special.